Okay, here we go. This is James Maduke speaking from Teach Online. Today what I'm going to do, well, I'm going to try and make this a regular series, but what we're going to do is I'm going to go over the previous week, what I learned on YouTube and how that affects us as course creators or people who want to teach something online or build out training sites. So let's get right to it. And again, I might do these live in the future. This one is a recorded one. It's not going to be overly produced, but what I want to do is I want to share, in this case, three, well, maybe four things. Even though it's called 3 things I learned on YouTube, it'll be 3 to 4 things that we learn on YouTube or that I look at or learn from watching YouTube videos and how I can apply that to creating courses or for coaches, consultants, experts who want to be able to teach online the courses that they create. And the first one I want to talk about is the whole thing about ChatGPT. And if you haven't heard about it, it's an artificial intelligence engine. Everyone's ranting about it and doing all sorts of YouTube videos on how you can create YouTube videos by not doing anything except typing in questions into this artificial intelligence agent. It'll give you a complete script for a course. And I want to apply that to us as teachers for a special reason. There's actually 3 types of learning or 3 types of teaching. And I think that ChatGPT is going to ruin one of them. And here's what I mean. The very first one that you have is called on-demand learning, and that is technically what YouTube is. It's a place where there's recorded information that people go to answer a specific question, and it's on demand. So if I have something I want to know, I go to YouTube and I watch a video / a course to try and learn how to do something. So that's on-demand learning. In some cases, YouTube's a very simple manner of that, but if you go to a membership site as another example where they have on-demand learning, where they have a whole bunch of videos, and they might have some structured lessons that go through a particular process or step, but it's still on-demand videos. A lot of times it'll be unstructured, so it doesn't really go on a set path. You can kind of pick the topics in a particular area that you want to focus on. So that's on-demand learning, and I think ChatGPT is going to flood the market even more so on YouTube with content that is on-demand videos, but necessarily doesn't teach you anything and may not have the quality of the content that you need to be able to impact people and teach people. Now, the other thing is too, is there's going to be a real rush on grabbing people's attention with this flush of on-demand information that's going to flood YouTube in the next little while with all of this ChatGPT and artificial intelligence stuff. It's pretty easy to use. It's amazing stuff, but I just think it's going to ruin the on-demand course market for us as course creators or people who want to teach something online. So that's on-demand learning. The second one, which is where I think things are going to be going for course creators in the short term, is immersive learning. And what immersive learning is more structured on-demand learning, which includes things like certification, assessments, exercises, things that you have to do, quizzes, and it also does stuff with workplaces, for example. So you're in a position where you have set areas or grouping, even discussion forums where you can interact or ask questions and get feedback, but it's still one-on-one. It's still you looking at the courses, it's still you looking at the quizzes. So that's an immersive one, and that adds over and above to the on-demand learning. The next piece is what's called blended learning, or you may have heard the term cohorts, and that's when a group of people go through at the same time a particular course with blended learning. And what's blended learning all about? Well, some people might call it coaching, but that is where the teacher is involved on a set schedule or live with a group of people who are taking the same course at the same time with the same lessons and the same sequence. And again, these are cumulative. So the on-demand learning is the basis. It's standard videos. You get into immersive and then into blended cohort series. So I think that ChatGPT is going to ruin the course model, where you're going to have a lot of trouble selling courses that are just maybe great content, but it's just on-demand information for people. You're going to see a lot more immersive learning, where you're going to get more structured areas in with even a community discussions, but it's still on-demand video, certification quizzes. That's going to get really important. And then the third part, which is the high value, that's the immersive, the blended cohort learning when you're in with groups of people, what traditionally might be called coaching, but it's group coaching along with all of those other pieces. So get ready for that. I think you're going to see a huge influx of what people are calling courses, but they're not a great way to teach. So that was last week. That's my feedback for this week. Play around with it. You may get some good ideas from it. But just remember, at the end of the day, if you want to teach something, you're going to have to actually promise an outcome. And the best way to do that is going to be with the immersive learning and or those blended cohorts or blended learning that's not just videos. So I said 3 or 4 topics or things that I learned. And the one thing I just kind of want to fit into this ChatGPT thing is this whole thing about niche markets and people on YouTube always saying, you got to pick a niche, you got to pick a niche. I don't believe that's true at all. And I'm a big proponent of something called hub and spoke marketing. And I think actually 15 years ago, I registered a domain called hub and spoke marketing, and foolishly I let it go. But hub and spoke marketing is not focusing on a niche, it's focusing on a theme. And a theme is a collection of niches or topics that support a particular interest that you have or a theme. And there's a whole bunch of videos that we've included on how this applies to it. But the reason I'm talking about this is because you're going to see these immersive learning and these blended cohort teaching. It's not going to be about one niche. It's going to be all of the supporting material around an outcome. And that outcome is more of a theme, and all of the products, services, information, experiences, everything around that theme, not one particular niche. So think of it as a hub and spoke. Again, we'll get into those a little bit later. And I put links in the description below for any of the additional training and sites where you can get involved in that. So ChatGPT, hub and spoke, we're going to see some mixes on that. That's the kind of the 1 and 1.5 that I wanted to look at. The other thing, number 2, is there are some absolutely great tools for YouTube content creators that are wonderful for course creators. Now, what am I talking about? One of the ones that I use and play around with is called vidIQ. Now, you're probably saying, well, why would I want to know about vidIQ on YouTube, and what does that have to do with courses? Well, there's a whole bunch of tools that are built into vidIQ that let you know about the demand in your theme that you're working on and the topics in your topics supporting your theme that you should be spending time on when you're creating your courses. And I'm just going to read off a couple of little pieces that are covered in there. They have scorecards that you can create. Keyword tools, not niches, keyword tools around each of these topics or spokes on your hub. Daily ideas. The one that's important that I think for course creators is competitors. You can actually track your competitors and see what other people in your particular theme are doing. But most importantly, you can track trends on what's being covered and what's not being covered, what spokes are important, what spokes aren't important, and compare views. Now, this is the one that is really, really impressive to me as it relates to how hard or how valuable the topic is that you're focusing on. What is it? It's called VPH, and that is views per hour. And what it does is if you can find a competitor who is creating content on YouTube, you can find out what the views per hour are on the videos that they're posting on YouTube. Now, this doesn't mean it's their course, but they're going to be promoting their course or teasing information in many cases about their course on YouTube. You can see their posted videos, and it will tell you, is there 1,000 people watching the video per hour? Is there 0 people watching the video per hour? So if you're looking at your competitors, you're tracking your competitors, you're looking at trends, you can use vidIQ to go, hey, this is a topic that I need to look at or consider to include in my immersive learning and my cohort or blended learning. Okay, so really important to look at the tools available for content creators and then apply them to demand for the courses that you're actually creating. Now, Here's the other thing that was interesting to me as well. With all of the ChatGPT content that's going to flood the market, I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a real demand on, or real struggle on how to get attention to this content. Now, why does this fit in? One of the things that I learned last week by watching YouTube videos, which I think applies to course creators, is the thumbnail and the intro is going to become even more important on YouTube and with the courses you're creating. Now, here's the reason it is on YouTube. YouTube, normally when you look at a desktop or even on your phone, a couple things are important on YouTube. One is that often the sound is off. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is that if you hold your mouse or you preview a thumbnail, what happens is there is often a intro video, or the start of your video starts. So the thumbnail's gone, the intro video shows up. And again, you got to think about this in a couple things when you're selling courses. And well, what am I talking about? You have to be very, very, very specific in terms of how you're grabbing attention with your thumbnails. And you also have to get into your videos very quickly. And it's probably not a bad idea to use captions with the introduction of the videos. And you're going to have to really spend some time on the course graphic. For example, if you're using LearnDash, there's a couple things that you can do in LearnDash and some of the other LMSs or the learning management systems like Lifter and Teachable. I think some of even the paid ones, pardon me, the software as a service do the same thing. If you have a course graphic, you got to have something that's really compelling. Do you want to get people to read the description? Or you can also use an intro video that shows up on the course sales page or the course information page. You can also have a promo video that's there as well. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time, or a lot more time, I think, getting involved in grabbing people's attention with compelling course graphics, compelling intros to your courses, and preview videos as well. So those are 3.5 things I learned on YouTube this week, or last week actually. I'm going to try and do these on a regular basis. I think there's some really great information that obviously we can use from YouTube and apply it to creating courses. If you do find any value in this, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and we'll be back with more next Monday for sure. Might be live again. I might record it. We'll see what happens. If you got value or you have questions on this, ask in the comments below, or visit teachonline.io to join our community free and ask your questions there as well. This is James speaking, teachonline.io. Take care. Expect the best.